Matt Slick believes that biblical laws are more just than American laws, but he seems to have no interest in living under them.
I mean, we have laws. I live in the United States. I think you do too, right?
Yes.
Okay. So was the Old Testament law more just than the laws that we have in our country today?
Well, that's a difficult question to ask because in order for something to be more just, you have to have a standard by which you could say something is more or less.
Okay, well, by your standard, are the Old Testament laws more just than the laws that we have in the United States?
More just.
So Slick thinks that the legal system with the law about stoning your wife to death if you find out she's not a virgin on your wedding night is more just than a system without that law.
There are laws that govern interactions among humans in the Old
Okay.
Testament
All right.
that relate just to civil order and those kinds of things. They are, in many
Okay.
cases, significantly different than the laws that we have in the United States.
Okay.
Would you take that portion of the Old Testament laws and replace our laws that are the equivalent of those laws
No,
with, and why?
because we don't live under the Old Testament covenant system.
The original question was whether biblical laws are more just. Slick said that they are, then when asked if he would prefer to replace American laws with their biblical counterparts, he says that Christians don't live under the covenant system. However, the fact that they don't live under the covenant system doesn't mean that Christians are forbidden to follow Old Testament laws if they want to. Paul of Tarsus didn't say, "You're not allowed to circumcise people anymore," and eating shellfish is obligatory. He said you don't have to circumcise people, and you're allowed to eat shellfish if you like. If Slick believes that Old Testament laws are more just, then wouldn't he prefer them over American laws, even if they aren't obligatory?
Okay.
He didn't come to get rid of slavery. He didn't come to get rid of the Roman government. He didn't come to get rid of the Judaizers. He came to set us free. When he sets us free, then what happens is things like slavery disappear.
Then why did Christians continue to own slaves for over 1,000 years after Jesus showed up? Why does Ephesians 6:5 say, "Servants, be obedient to them that are your masters according to the flesh, with fear and trembling, and singleness of your heart as unto Christ"? Slave-owning Christians living in the Confederacy loved to quote this passage. It seems odd that this passage would be in the New Testament if Christianity made slavery disappear.